And it's finals day, so the pits have a very unique atmosphere about them. So we thought we'd have a wander around and check out everything that's going on for you. Now we're heading down first towards the international end of the pit garages. These are where a lot of the Japanese guys, the Thai guys, I would say the Filipino guys, Joe Evaristo is located down here. And I don't know if he's still here, because the thing is, it's obviously finals day. So for a lot of people, their worlds ended yesterday. So for some people, it's a slightly emptier pit area. But it's no less peaceful, because obviously the guys who are still here are focused now on the semi-finals coming up very soon. So that's the big focus right now. So the people still here, it is still a hive of activity. There's still some drivers here to support the drivers that are still here, but it's still a little bit emptier. It's a very strange atmosphere. That's Takahiko Terauchi's car just there. You'll just see the bodywork down there. That car was involved in a great pass in his quarterfinal. He's going to be progressing on to the semi-final. Great to have along, and I think we found a couple of the Thailand drivers here as well. We have found just the man I wanted to speak to, Mean Vedrak, former world champion of this event.
Hello.
Mean, how's your world championship going this time around so far?
The first, I think we need to pass the semi-finals, and then we have chance to win again. I hope.
So the focus right now is just making it through the semi-final.
Yes, because my heat is not easy, because many top drivers in my main. So, but if I continue to stay 1 to 5, I think easy to aim in. Yeah.
So you feel like you've got a good chance if you stay in that top 5. Talk to us about your car. How has that been feeling so far? How good has it been driving so far?
Yeah, now I drive a Capricorn. I changed before I drive KM, and now they change the Capricorn. And then in the first 2 days, I have a little bit problem, but because I get this car maybe 1 day before I come, and a little bit difficult for me to set up, because the track layout and high-speed track like this we not have in Bangkok. So, but we improve every day, yeah, for car and engine also.
So just talk to us a little bit about that. How different is this track to the venue which you won your first world title? The kind of contrast in the weather conditions, the track itself, what kind of differences are there?
Yeah, the weather is, now I think the weather is the same in Thailand, like when hot is hot. Yeah. But the difference is the wind. Here is a heavy, like a heavy wind. And in Thailand we have only like a technical layout, not the high-speed layout. So that is a hard part for us.
And finally, how confident are you of winning world title number 2?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of a hard question to ask, because of course you don't want to jinx it, but you know.
Yeah, but I do my best for the world title.
The tactics is to make it through the semi-final first, then concentrate on the final. Very smart. Mean V, thank you very much for talking to us. Best of luck in your semi-final. Right, I think we have one of the other Thai guys to talk to.
Game Mongol Fan.
Game Mongol Fan. Right, we watched you in action yesterday. It was great to watch you out there. Just talk us through yesterday's races. Your car looked pretty good out there. How was it competing in the World Championships?
Yeah, for me it's new for me. It's a track in the Europe. I ride in the Thailand, but it's for the different, for the layout, for the surface. But I can drive, but so fast.
Just talk us through some of the differences between the track here and some of the tracks you're used to in terms of layout. Is the weather much different?
Oh, whoa. It's so very, very, very different. In the next before years, the ride the hill track. It's a very, very grip, very grip. It's so easy ride to the flip, but this track is a fly. It's not grip. It's too hard for me.
The track's very slippery out there. The rear end wants to kick. We've seen that from a lot of cars out there. Has that made it difficult to set up, to try and keep the rear end gripped to the track?
Yeah, it's different for the setup for me. It's too hard for me.
It's a challenge that most people are facing out here. And finally, you were able to transfer out of one EVs. How good did that feel to get a heat transfer through?
Yeah, I think the feeling is the track is okay for me. It look like the fly. It's for the beginner. It's to ride the tracks.
So, finally, you had a good experience of your first World Championships. Are you hungry for more?
Maybe.
Well, thanks very much for being here. It's been great having you along. Thanks very much for chatting to us, Game. best of luck in the future. We hope to see him along at other World Championships. We love guys like him guys like him and Joe Evaristo as well. We talked a lot. I was just speaking about this man. It's Joe Evaristo. There he is. Yes.
Again?
Yes. Well, you're proving very popular. Joe, just talk to us about yesterday, because you had your first run. You must have thought you just missed out, and then you got a second chance.
Yes, I couldn't believe it. I was we had my first lower final. The 2-speed was too late, and so it was too tight, and the engine was so rich. And I was like, oh my God, I can't leave like this. I can't go home with like this. I was like, God, help me. And then, we were just outside under the tree, and we were just waiting there. And I was like, okay, maybe we should go to technical inspection. I'm not hoping for anyone to go down, right?
But you never know.
Yeah, you never know. And then I waited there, but something in me and then all of a sudden, Sander de Graaf told me, hey, you're bumping up. I was like, how did that happen? Because someone didn't pass technical inspection. And then, so I was like, okay. And then I shouted to everybody. Everybody stood up. So it was like, I got the car, I compressored it and everything. And then I, what do you call this? Okay, I was like, game, hold the car. I'm gonna tighten the I'm gonna loosen the 2-speed and Joe, please lean the engine. And it ran perfect. It ran perfectly. So I started 10th on the grid in my bump up, and then I finished 7th. So that I was like, okay, maybe I can go home feeling like this already.
You kind of feel like you've given your best shot at last now.
Yes. No, considering we only had one good engine and one modified engine, and so I had technically 2 engines. It's like 1.5 engines coming here. That's crazy. And yet I didn't blow any of them.
Wow.
I didn't blow any of them.
Very impressive.
Yeah, but although you'll be embarrassed, it's quite embarrassing breaking in an engine in control practice. And you're the only one. But I was like, okay, I don't care. I got to finish the race. And that's exactly what happened. And I had so much runtime because I had 2 finals. 2 finals in my first Italian Worlds. It's great. This is my second Worlds, but my first Italian
It didn't go so well.
But again, like I said, the second final I had, it made me realize that I can drive. If everything is perfect, I can drive. Yeah.
So it sounds like overall you've really had a fun time here at this World Championships, and we've loved it. I can tell you, a lot of people on the YouTube comments have been talking about you when you were in the finals. There was a lot of sport. Guys like you. You're like one of the great underdogs of this tournament.
Well, and I want to thank everyone, especially my family, my father and my mother, who helped me, and of course God, and we're definitely gonna be back, and hopefully if it's gonna be in the States in a couple of years, we'll be ready for sure, financially and mentally and everything, and for the drive and everything.
Brilliant. Well, I'll tell you what, we can't wait to see you there in 2 years' time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'm going to keep watching you guys, and for I don't know what you're gonna cover, the ENS, as anything on road, I'm gonna watch you guys for sure.
We'll be on the Euro.
I'm a great fan of you guys.
Hey, we're a big fan of you as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You've really lit up this tournament. Thanks very much for speaking to us.
All right.
That was Joe Evaristo. What a colourful character there. There's some of the Japanese guys. Fortunately, their English is not so great. And unfortunately, my GCSE Japanese is now rudimentary at best, which is a little bit unfortunate. But what a great guy to speak to. You've got to love guys like Joe Evaristo. He is the definition of this entire World Championship. He is the one who kind of sums everything up. He was in the bottom round. Thank you very much. It was in the bottom round of his lower finals. He gets a second shot, and he's just enjoyed every single moment he's had out here at this World Championship. He was one of these guys who you probably wasn't expecting to win coming in, but he was enjoying every moment. You saw the enthusiasm there. That's what we love about these championships. That's why there's so many stories to come out of this, and that's why I love this whole World Championship the most. It's those great stories. It's the variety of tales people have to tell. It's just marvellous. And also, it being Italy, some very nice full-scale cars. It's a BMW M5 there, I think. There's been a nice Ferrari lurking around. There's a Maserati Ghibli. Very nice. Very, very good. Oh, this is like an episode of Through the Keyhole. Aha. JJ Wong, we have a great chat with you. JJ, you've had a good run this morning.
Thank you.
How are you feeling? How have you enjoyed this World Championship? How's it gone for you?
Well, it's been a really long week for me. For sure, I'm disappointed because we didn't come here. We came here for a goal and we didn't accomplish that. But I mean, 2 bump ups for sure is a good end for me because we started the week off pretty weak. So, yeah.
It seems like you really, in the early stages of qualifying, things were pretty tough for you, but it seems you got better pace, and those 2 transfers were really something. They were really good drives.
Yeah, we couldn't find the right setup. We came here earlier 2 months ago to test, but everything was different. So we were behind on everything, and we couldn't figure out why. So, I mean, for the finals, I wasn't the fastest out there, but the car was stable, so I think it had the pace for finals.
Yeah, I mean, there were some times where it looked like you could have made a 3rd transfer as well and things gone your way. But what will you take away from this World Championship? What kind of experience have you gained from it?
Well, it's over, so I have another one next week, so we'll see how that goes.
Just coming away from back on the national circuit, I assume?
Yeah, and back home in China.
It's all good. So, I mean, just you've enjoyed your entire experience here. I mean, you wish you could have continued it longer, but overall you've enjoyed it out here in Italy?
Yeah, it's an amazing facility, and the fans are great. And yeah, it's not the best race for me, but fantastic week.
Still been a pleasure to be a part of, and there's so many different people involved in this championship, and JJ is just one of them. Thanks very much for speaking to us. 2 great transfers already, and we hope to see you at more World Championships very soon. Now here is Wong Senior, Rick. Good to have you on. What's your experience been of this World Championship so far?
I think the Italians did a fantastic job with this whole race. It's well organized. They really went out of their way to make it comfortable for everybody. As for our results, like JJ said, we had higher expectations, but it's one of those things that just didn't work out for us. But we'll fight back. We have the Beijing Electric Worlds next week, so we'll start fresh there.
What kind of similarities and differences are there between this track and the tracks out in like Asia, the other World Championship venues? Obviously this being in Europe, but it's a hot climate. What kind of differences are there?
Well, European tracks traditionally have grass partitions, so that's very European. But this particular track is very difficult. Like JJ said, we came actually a month ago for a week of testing, but the track is 180 degrees different. It's completely different. So it makes us wonder if it was better to come and test beforehand or to take advantage of the 2-day IPD, which the track was more similar to what the race conditions were. But this track definitely very difficult in terms of traction. It's low traction, low bike track.
And when you've got such a competitive field in this World Championship, I guess that makes it even more difficult. But JJ made 2 transfers, could have made a 3rd. You happy with that overall as a performance?
Oh, I'm very proud of him. I mean, it's his character. He never gives up, and I think he drove well in the finals. Like he said, the pace wasn't really there all week, but he fought, and a little unlucky in that quarterfinals, but we walk away learning some things, and we'll be back.
Well, best of luck in the next Worlds coming up. And can I just say, your sunglasses, they're excellent. They're on a par with Dallas Matheson's as well. They're brilliant, and I mean that as a big compliment. So thank you very much for chatting to us.
These are better than Dallas's.
Fighting talk. We won't mention that to Dallas, or maybe we will. That'll be fun. Thanks very much for chatting to us. Cheers, JJ and Rick Wong. Well, great bunch of guys there. JJ, you can see, obviously disappointed. A little bit of a contrast. It's all about the expectations, really, and it's all about the kind of the contrasting emotions and opinions. And this is definitely a bit of through the keyhole, isn't it? Who could room in a room like this? There's no one in it. Come in here a second. We came down here because we wanted to have a word with the Aussies. They're all out. Where are they? Well, there's Jeff Hammond's car in the middle. That's unfortunate. Actually, let's have a quick look at it. We may as well. I feel very top secret. This is all their top secret setup stuff. Shh. That's Jeff Hammond's car. Doesn't show any of the damage from the... Oh, it is showing the scars of war there. Have a look at that on the side there. And there's a couple of the other bodies. I'm a big fan of that body, by the way, that colour scheme on that body. That is great stuff. We'll head out here. We'll hope to try and collar Jesse Davis at some point, who's the sole Aussie left in this tournament. And he is back through in the pits as well. And we have the one Canadian driver here this week. Great to start with Mikna Lupu. Good to speak to you here. What's your experience of this World Championships been like?
It's been quite good actually. It's our first 110 World Championship. Our first one was last year for 1/8, and we had a lot of fun. We had some problems, but in the end, everything was good.
And so, I mean, just talk to us a little bit about how this track compares and is different to other tracks you've run, maybe back home in Canada, maybe elsewhere in Asia. Just talk us through what this track's been like for you.
This track's been a fun experience. It's a lot different than most of the tracks we've run because most of the tracks we run are usually slightly more technical, and none of the tracks we've run ever have had grass. So it's been a bit of a learning curve to get used to if you do touch the grass, what's going to happen. And you have to push a lot more, and especially with a new car for us, it's been an okay experience.
It's been a good learning experience overall. Just talk us through the new car. What kind of new elements have been introduced on this one? Have you been kind of testing out some new bits this week?
Yeah, we've got the new R-Type version for Mugen, so that will have the new chassis, new arms. We decided to use the old chassis, but with the new arms and the new carbon pieces. It's just, the car just handles better in the corners. We didn't get a chance to try the old chassis, the new chassis, because when we came here to do testing in pre-worlds, we used the old one, so we didn't want to do any risky things.
Well, that's a good learning experience overall. And what lessons have you learned coming away from this World Championship? What experiences will you take away from it?
When you come into pit, push the throttle. Don't let the engine go down.
That's it. A lot of guys seem to have some issues in the pits, though, so that wasn't the only thing. But overall, had a good time?
Definitely. Would definitely want to come back here again.
Excellent. Well, there's another enthusiastic guy. His World Championship is over, but he's had a great time. Minhia Lupu, thanks very much for chatting to us. One Canadian representative at this tournament. We've had Joe Evaristo, the one Filipino. We've had the Australians. We've had the Americans here. That's the thing about this event. It's in Europe. It is organised partly by EFRA. It has a European flavour to it. But this is a World Championship, and you have to factor that into account in a big, big way. Now, for a bit of an expert opinion, we have Oshin from Red RC here to have a chat to us. Oshin, good afternoon. You've been in the room next to us listening to most of my shouting, I think, for most of the week, but beavering away on a laptop. So just talk to us a little bit. We've got the semi-finals coming up now. What guys are looking good to potentially move through to the final?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be we're down to 22 drivers. 22 of them are all worthy world champions. There's so much, I think it was Jared Tebow said that it takes everything right to be world champion, only one thing to go wrong to not be world champion. So I think the big thing is tires for going forward. So to narrow down to 22 to 10, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. I mean, there's so many. Every driver there has won some sort of title. We have a lot of guys who've been on the podium before at the World Championships. The big news, I suppose, today is we've lost Alexander Hagberg, so we're going to get a new world champion. We also lost Daniel Lassi, so we're kind of down to one former champion still in the semis. But I don't think, a lot of drivers are saying now for the semi-finals, obviously the guys that come from the quarterfinal have the advantage of knowing tyre wear. But do you do 2 or do you do 4? Dirk Vyshysny, who luckily got into the semi-final when Lupini went out, ran out of fuel in the last lap, he said, you got to take a gamble. If you go with 2, you can't push and just hope that the consistency gets you to the end and gets you the result.
Is that as in 2 tyres being changed or 2 tyre stops?
No, two tyres. So just one side.
Okay.
I was talking to Tony Gruber, and his front right tyre is just on the plastic after 20 minutes. So he reckons you have to do all 4. Other drivers are going to take a gamble, but if I was gambling on a guy doing 2 tyres and winning it on consistency, or getting through from consistency, that'd be Yillis. Yillis is the master, I think, of all the strategies in this race. But picking 10, no idea.
He's very experienced. He's a very wily competitor as well. And it's interesting about tyre wear. What's been your kind of big takeaway of this track compared to previous hosts of this World Championship? What kind of challenges has it provided compared to previous events of this type?
Well, everyone loves the track, so I don't think it's the track. I think the big thing here is just how equal everybody is. The competitiveness here. There's no standout guy here because, okay, over a couple of laps we've had 1 or 2, so Dominic and Dario a little bit quicker than everybody else, but over a 1-hour final, it's a totally different kettle of fish.
Well, I mean, you heard it here first. We've been saying it all week. You heard it here from the experts as well. this final is going to be absolutely close. The margins in qualifying were so close, weren't they? They were really, really close.
As I say, there's no clear leader here. So, you know, and in 1 hour, so much can go wrong. You know, you have to consider if we're going to do one tyre stop in a half an hour, it means we're going to do 2. So there's double the chance of something going wrong. All it takes is to drop one. It's so close, you drop one wheel nut, it could be game over, you know.
And there's so many variables in these finals. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch the semi-finals. I know you'll be watching it in the room next door to us. Oisin, thanks very much for talking to us and providing your expert view. Now, who have we got? Aha! The man we wanted to speak to. The one Aussie guy we haven't spoken to yet. We've been big fans of your whole team here. And it's the one Australian representative. He's in the semi-final now. Any pressure, any nerves building up as the semi-final is coming up soon?
Just the usual nerves. It's the semi-final of the World Championships. We're just going to go in, hopefully get a good tyre change and have a smooth run. It's all about the start. If we get off to a good start and try and overtake some people, then we can try and make a final. But
it's a lot of variables in these races. We were just talking about tyre strategy. What do you think your strategy is going to be going forward? Some guys talking about maybe only changing 2 right side tyres, or do you think it's a 4 tyre change?
Through the team, we've had a few in the quarterfinals, so we've measured the tyres. We think we can get through with just one side. Change the right-hand side and just make it through.
So how valuable has it having those other teammates out there earlier, giving you a little bit of feedback, a little bit of what the track's doing? How useful has that been?
Very useful. Like we all as a team work together really well, especially having the knowledge of Timu and Yili's on the team and Andy. It's great. We all work together, and the feedback is what gets. We had 5 cars in the semi-final, 1 in the other one with Yili's. It's good. We're a good team. We work together good. It's great.
How confident are you feeling of making the final and potentially taking the world title back to Australia? I know it's a big question to ask a driver because they don't want to. You don't want to hedge your bets, but how good are you feeling about the car?
I'm feeling good. The car's really good. It should be really easy to drive over half an hour, but we don't know. It's an unknown, and we'll try our best.
A lot of variables to come. Thanks very much for chatting to us, Jesse. You'll have a lot of support from back home. I can tell you that for nothing. Thanks very much. And we have plenty of guys here. There's Andy Moore. There's Ricky from Red RC as well. And down here we have Robert Peach, a man that we didn't get to chat to after Super Pole yesterday. We're now going to speak to him now. He's diving into one of the semi-finals. Robert, talk us through that Super Pole session yesterday. It was such close margins. It didn't quite look like you were quite there on setup. Was there something different in the car?
For me, I guess my disadvantage was that the track was unused for half an hour, and many people walk on the track, and I could see the footsteps on the track from the driver's restroom. So the track was dirty. Also, I've changed something on the car for the Super Pole because I expected to can do a fast lap with that, and it was the wrong decision. But in my opinion, the biggest problem was the track itself.
So you feel like had it gone straight into Super Pole after running the qualifying, it might have been in a better condition?
In my opinion, they should run the first lower final and then start the Super Pole in between. Would be more fair to all, or let's say more the same condition for everybody. Because since we run the Super Pole, never the first driver could bump up. Because it was always the break in between.
Yeah.
And then the first driver have definitely a disadvantage.
So kind of the first driver's a bit of a pioneer in that aspect. So what changes have you made to the car compared to Super Bowl going into your semi-final now? Have you set it up to be more generous with the tyre wear, a little bit more comfortable to drive?
No, for the Super Bowl I tried to get more steering, but it was simply too much for this condition. So the car was really unstable to drive, and so I could not make a good lap.
And how good are you feeling about making it through the semi-final, going for the world title? You obviously the car's good. You've been fast all week. Conditions fairly similar for the last few days. You've got to be feeling good.
Yeah, I'm quite confident. I was pretty consistent all the runs. I never was the fastest, but I always was, I would say, maybe in the top 5. So I'm pretty confident for the semi.
So in that aspect, there's every chance. We talked about all the variables, and Robert could be one of those who profits. Thank you very much for talking to us. Best of luck in your semi-final. So there was one of the Super Bowl guys we didn't get to speak to yesterday. And contrast that to Mr. Dominic Greiner, who we did have a word with yesterday. We had a chat with you yesterday, Dominic, after the Super Bowl. A day later, how confident are you going into the semi-final, and what changes have you made?
Yeah, change the small things on the car to make it more stable, more easier for the half an hour final. So also the tire strategy, we will see different strategies, but I think in the end, the last 5 minutes, there we can see which one was the right, and yeah, it will be very difficult. Competition is very high, so yeah.
It's going to be a very tense semi-final, and coming down to those final 5 minutes, those are going to be the ghost moments. Dominic, best of luck in your semi-final. Right, well, as I say, the pits are a kind of strange atmosphere at this point in time, because it's kind of like, as you can see, look at this. There's entire tables that are empty right now. Guys who have gone home early, but there are still guys who are here supporting the guys still in the tournament. One of the guys still very much in the championship, looking for the 1/10th crown to go alongside his 1/8. Simon Kersbuck. I see the car's dismantled. Good morning. What changes are you making to the car compared to Super Bowl for the semi-final coming up?
I didn't make any change, just put 15 grams more for the weight, so it should be the same, or closely the same like in the last qualification round. Yeah.
So a lot of people have been talking about tyre wear going into this semi-final. What's your strategy going to be? People talking about maybe going 2 right-side tyres on the pit stop, but do you think, what's your thoughts on the tyre wear and the strategy?
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone has to change the tires. This is sure. I'm not sure yet if I change all 4 or just one side. I think if you change only one side, it will be hard to drive, and for sure also the left side will be at the finish. But you can save some seconds in the pits, so we will see how. I will also check first the first semi, so after that we will decide and make the strategy. Yeah.
Get a few setup notes from that one, very useful. Thanks very much for chatting to us, Simon. Best of luck in your semi-final. Right, well, we're continuing through. As I say, it's kind of a weird atmosphere down here. It's more intense than normal because it is finals day, but there's also less people here. So it's a weird kind of contradiction in that respect. And you can see over here, you can see the tables that are still full. That's Alexia Matseo's pit bunker. I don't think he's around at the moment. He's just come back from finals practice. So as we come back through, and we return to the start, there's a full lap of the pit area on finals day at the IFMAR 1/10th IC Track World Championships 2016-17. Thanks very much for joining us on RC Racing TV. Our coverage all this week provided to you by Shepherd Micro Racing, by HPI Racing, and by Runner Time Fuel, and in conjunction with IFMAR. We'll see you soon for the semi-finals. They're going to be crackers.